Hare Krishna everyone, welcome back to Shravanam Diaries podcast. I'm your host Sulalita Devidasi and we are continuing to read teachings of Lord Caitanya by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Starting chapter 22, Srimad Bhagavatam. After the conversion of the Mayavadi sannyasis to the path of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, many scholars and inquisitive people visited the Lord at Benares. Since it was not possible for everyone to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at his residence, people stood in lines to see him as he passed on his way to the temples of Vishwanath and Bindu Madhava. One day, when the Lord visited the temple of Bindu Madhava with his associates, Chandrasekhara, Paramananda, Tapan Mishra, Sanatana Goswami, and others, he sang, Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Gopala Govinda Rama Shri Madhusudan. When the Lord sang in this way, chanting and dancing, thousands of people gathered around him, and when the Lord chanted, they roared. The vibration was so tumultuous that Prakashananda Saraswati, who was sitting nearby, immediately joined the crowd with his disciples. As soon as he saw the beautiful body of Lord Caitanya and saw how he was dancing with his associates, Prakashananda Saraswati joined and began to sing, Hari, Hari. All the inhabitants of Benares were struck with wonder upon seeing the ecstatic dancing of Lord Caitanya. But Lord Caitanya checked his continuous ecstasy and stopped dancing when he saw the Mayavadi sannyasis. As soon as the Lord stopped chanting and dancing, Prakashananda Saraswati fell at his feet. Trying to stop him, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Caitanya, said, Oh, you are the spiritual master of the whole world, Jagat Guru, and I am not even equal to your disciples. Wow, Lord Caitanya is so humble. You should therefore not worship an inferior like me, for actually I'm not even equal to the disciple of your disciple. You are exactly like the Supreme Brahman, and if I allow you to fall down at my feet, I will commit a great offense. Although you have no vision of duality, for the sake of teaching the people in general, you should not do this. Previously I spoke ill of you many times, Prakashananda Saraswati replied. Now, in order to free myself from the results of my offense, I fall down at your feet. He then quoted a verse from the Vedic literature which states that even a liberated soul will again become a victim of material contamination if he commits an offense against the Supreme Lord. Prakashananda Saraswati then quoted a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.34.9 regarding Nanda Maharaja's being attacked by a serpent, who had previously been a worshipable Vidyadhara. When the serpent was touched by the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa, he regained his previous body and was thus freed from the reaction of his sinful activities. When Lord Caitanya thus heard himself equated with Kṛṣṇa, he mildly protested. He wanted to warn people in general not to equate the Supreme Lord with any living entity. Although he was the Supreme Lord himself, he protested against this comparison in order to teach us. Thus, he said that it is the greatest offense to equate anyone with the Supreme Lord Kṛṣṇa. Lord Caitanya always maintained that Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is infinite, and that the living entities, however great they may be, are but infinitesimal. In this connection, he quoted a verse from the Padma Purana, which is found in the Vaishnava Tantra, Hari Bhakti Vilasa 1.73. Quote, "A person who equates the Supreme Lord with even the greatest of demigods, such as Brahma and Shiva, must be considered a number one atheist." Unquote. I can understand that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead Kṛṣṇa, Prakashananda Saraswati continued. And even though you present yourself as a devotee, you are still worshipable. Worshipable because you are greater than all of us in education and realization. Therefore, by blaspheming you, we have committed the greatest offense. Please excuse us. Unquote. How a devotee becomes the greatest of all transcendentalists is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 6.14.5. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prashantatma kotishvapi mahamune. Quote, "There are many liberated souls and perfected souls, but out of all of them, he who is a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the best. Such a devotee of the Supreme Lord is always calm and quiet, and his perfection is very rarely seen, even among millions of persons." Unquote. Prakashananda then quoted another verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.4.46, in which it is stated that one's duration of life, prosperity, fame, religion, and the benediction of higher authorities are all lost when one offends a devotee. This is very serious, by the way. Duration of life, prosperity, fame, religion, benediction of higher authorities are all lost when one offends a devotee. Finally, Prakashananda quoted Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.32, which says that although all the misgivings of the conditioned soul disappear at the touch of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot touch his lotus feet unless one receives the benediction of the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord's pure devotee. In other words, one cannot become a pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead unless he is favored by another pure devotee of the Lord. "Now I am taking shelter of your lotus feet," Prakashananda Saraswati said, "for I want to be elevated to the position of a devotee of the Supreme Lord." After talking in this way, Prakashananda Saraswati and Lord Caitanya said together, "Whatever you have said concerning discrepancies in the Mayavada philosophy is also known to us, known by us." Prakashananda said, "Indeed, We know that all the commentaries on Vedic scriptures by Mayavadi philosophers are erroneous, especially those of Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya's interpretations of the Vedanta Sutra are all figments of his imagination. You have not explained the aphorisms of the Vedanta Sutra and verses of the Upanishads according to your imagination, but have presented them as they are. Thus we are all pleased to have heard your explanation. Such explanations of the Vedanta Sutra and Upanishads cannot be given by anyone but the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Since you have all the potencies of the Supreme Lord, please explain the Vedanta Sutra further so that I may be benefited. Lord Caitanya protested against being called the Supreme Lord. My dear sir, I am an ordinary living entity. I cannot know the real meaning of the Vedanta Sutra. But Vyasadeva, who is an incarnation of Narayana, knows its real meaning. No ordinary living entity can interpret the Vedanta Sutra according to his mundane conceptions. In order to curb commentaries on the Vedanta Sutra by unscrupulous persons, the author himself, Vyasadeva, has already commented upon the Vedanta Sutra by writing Srimad Bhagavatam. Unquote. In other words, the best explanation of a book is written by the author himself. No one can understand the author's mind unless the author himself discloses the meaning of his words. Therefore, the Vedanta Sutra should be understood through Srimad Bhagavatam, the commentary written by the author of the Vedanta Sutra. Pranava, or Omkara, is the divine substance of all the Vedas. Omkara is further explained in the Gayatri Mantra, exactly as it is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. In the Bhagavatam there are 4 verses written in this connection, and they were explained to Brahma by Lord Kṛṣṇa himself. In his turn, Brahma explained them to Narada, and Narada explained them to Vyasadeva. In this way, the purport of the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam has come down through disciplic succession. It is not that anyone and everyone can make his own foolish commentary on the Vedanta Sutra and mislead his readers. Anyone who wants to understand the Vedanta Sutra must read Srimad Bhagavatam carefully. Under the instructions of Narada Muni, Vyasadeva compiled Srimad Bhagavatam with the purpose of explaining the aphorisms of the Vedanta Sutra. In writing Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva collected all the essence of the Upanishads, the purport of which was also explained in the Vedanta Sutra. Srimad Bhagavatam is thus the essence of all Vedic knowledge. That which is stated in the Upanishads and restated in the Vedanta Sutra is explained very nicely in Srimad Bhagavatam. There's a verse in the Ishopanishad similar to one found in Srimad Bhagavatam 8.1.10. which states that whatever one sees in the cosmic manifestation is but the Supreme Lord's energy and is not different from Him. Consequently, He is the controller, friend, and maintainer of all living entities. We should live by the mercy of God and take only those things which are allotted to us according to our particular living condition. In this way, by not encroaching on another's property, one can enjoy life. In other words, the purport of the Upanishads, Vedanta Sutra, and Srimad Bhagavatam is one and the same. If one studies Srimad Bhagavatam carefully, he will find that all the Upanishads and the Vedanta Sutra are nicely explained therein. Srimad Bhagavatam teaches us 3 subjects: how to re-establish our eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord, how to act in that relationship, and lastly, how to achieve the highest benefit from it. The 4 Srimad Bhagavatam verses beginning with Aham evasam evagre 2.9.33 to 36 are the gist of the whole Bhagavatam. These are nicely summarized by Lord Caitanya as follows, and we shall read about this tomorrow. I really love the Chatushloki of Srimad Bhagavatam. Jai. Yes, we will continue tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in today. The link to this book is in the description. Please check out our website, shravanamdiaries.com. Read these books along with us. Share them with everyone you know. And we shall see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.